inspirational and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Bankie and Company alongside Yahsonn Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Bankie and Company alongside Yahsonn Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Bankie and Company alongside Yahsonn Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man
It's me. It's me.
Yeah, seemingly.
No, but I'm
I
hearing
don't hear
talking. I
the
hear him
talking.
talking. And you all hear the talking?
Yeah, I'm hearing the talking too, but I don't know
Yeah,
if the
it's
talking
not
is you
me.
as well.
So
The
no, it's
feedback
not my
seemingly
side.
is
That's what I'm
the talking is you. So I'm not sure
No, me,
how
I have on a device. So I'm trying to figure out where the device coming with it. Um, the, all right. Well, sorry about that. I guess we can't do nothing about that unless the technician in the background can sort out the part. But yes. Well, right now, thanks again if you're tuning in. I'm your host Bankie and my co-host Yahsonn Tafari, and welcome to the Everything Agriculture Show. If your first time listener, it's an educational show where we try to put agriculture at the top of the pedestal where it belongs, because without agriculture, we really don't exist. So it doesn't really matter which profession you're in. Agriculture is the most noble profession anyone can pick up, because everything around us is basically just mining up the earth resources or stacking atoms, and that's what it is. So this evening we have Helen's daughter, which is based a female group based out of one
Okay,
base here in
Banky, I
St.
think
Kitts
you
Nevis. Huh?
you
Yes,
went
son?
you
silent.
dropped out for a second. So I think probably we thought your mic was muted.
Oh no, no, but I'm good now.
Yes.
Okay, well, much clearer now. It seems like the noise is gone and stuff like that. So I appreciate that. I guess the technician filled it up. But yes, I was saying earlier, we have Helen's daughter, which is our guest this evening. We have the home-based representative Latoya Duncan with us. We also have a next female guest, and we have one of our guests from Four Seasons, one of the facilitator, I may say one of the manager there at Four Seasons. We're already having an activity there coming up the 21st. So Latoya, I'll leave
Thank you.
everything to you to let them know who you are and give a small synopsis of Helen's Dart and what some of the works you all been doing and stuff like that.
And thank you very much, Banky. I want to thank you and Rastafari for giving us this space tonight, allowing us to be here with you guys and your audience in order to Helen's Daughters is a Caribbean non-profit organization that empowers women. So let me not say women, girls and women through agriculture. We try to use an adaptive space to help improve growing techniques, businesses, market access training, community-led capacity building through organizations to help women turn small-scale farming and artisanal production into a reliable income and leadership opportunity.
That's me, this
And
is her.
so tonight we are here to promote one of our market opportunities, which we were given this opportunity by the Four Seasons Resort. And we do have one of those front runners here who saw the potential, assist us to get there, and is still in it with us and running full speed. So we have here with us Zama, but I'll allow him to tell you some more about himself. So what we are here to do tonight, which is during earlier this year, Helen's daughter started with the Four Seasons Resort to launch what is known as a FarmHer Market. So this market, which started at the Four Seasons Resort in Nevis, looked at promoting, finding a market space for our farmers in order to sell and promote some of their events. This is an initiative that actually Four Seasons, after we had a viewing of our popular documentary there at Four Seasons. Some more research was done on the organization, and Four Seasons wanting to help our women farmers offer their space for a farmers market, which is similarly to what is done in the other countries that also have Helen's Daughter organizations, such as St. Lucia, which is the mother country. That is where it originated from. That's where it got its name from, Helen. And we also have another chapter in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So tonight we are here to discuss the launch of the Farmers Market, which would start November 23rd at Four Seasons Resort. And I really cannot show enough appreciation for Four Seasons for giving us this space, allowing the ladies to be able to show their produce and also finding this market for them as a source of income. So I think I just said enough. So I'll allow one of our stars from the Four Seasons Resort who are in this with us, side to side, neck to neck, head to head, however you want to put it. So I'll allow Xavier to say a little bit about himself.
Thank you so much, Latoya. That was a beautiful introduction, I have to admit. So, my name is Givace, and I work as the Residential Services Community and Lifestyle Lead. So, I'm actually someone that is in charge in planning and hosting events for homeowners. And when the opportunity came about for us to partner with Helen's daughter, it was perfect and an opportunity to get a chance to have our homeowners more involved in terms of a community-based activity. And I would say it really clicked when I noticed that we never really hosted any of these type of activities here before. So to have it here at the resort itself, where you have persons getting ready, heading down to the market, being able to purchase their own veggies, go back home, cook, prepare, it was just something natural. And I'm grateful that Latoya and her team saw it fit, and they were able to come through, and we were able to do 3 events. And our homeowners did mention along the line that they thought it was an amazing initiative. For the upcoming season now, where we're going to be having not just our homeowners in, but the resort guests as well, to be able to come and experience a local aspect of Nevis, that's all I could have hoped for. As Latoya said, we're in this, foot and foot, neck and neck, everything together. So it would be amazing to incorporate all the other persons in our island to actually come out and show their support, or even to pick up that trade as well. Because what I'm learning more now than ever, farming is very important. And trust me, a lot of persons are inspired by it.
Mm-hmm. I think
Beautiful.
Marcia
Latoya.
Hi.
So how did this FarmHer Market came about? Where the concept
so
came from?
Okay. Before we
Yes.
get into that, right, I think we should try to get Marcia started out, because I think I'm not certain if the feedback maybe coming from her side, where she may be listening via the audio. I saw she came in at a time, but then she went back out. So Marcia, if you're there, let us know, you can just respond to us, and so we can try to get this thing started up, because I thought the sound went away, but we're still hearing it. Unless
Yes.
somebody else has a device on in the background that's listening to the show, and it is giving us a feedback.
And Latoya, you want to try
But in the
Marcia
meantime, if
and
Marcia hasn't responded, if she hasn't responded, then Latoya could always go ahead and respond to how you came up with the
Okay.
FarmHer Market.
Okay, so
yes.
Marcia is actually trying to get back in. However, we can discuss how that idea came about. So Helen's Daughters, like I said, it's regional, so they have a regional footprint. It originated
Okay.
in St. Lucia, and it has expanded through the Eastern Caribbean. And so it runs programs such as training programs and market initiatives in countries. So the market came about, it started in St. Lucia, where the members, one of the goals for Helen's Daughters is to find a market for their members. So they started in St. Lucia by using their own members to do an entire market. So of course, like any initiative, it started out a little slow. However, it has picked up, and it has now become one of the leading markets in St. Lucia's, where they now even sometimes, depending on the activities they're having, they have night markets. So the market started in St. Lucia every 2 Saturdays. So Helen's Daughters, they did a documentary looking at farming. And during that documentary, some of the aspects of Helen's Daughters were quite obvious. So during that, we actually got to show the documentary at Four Seasons, and we had quite a few reps from Four Seasons who were there present to look at the documentary and the work that Helen's Daughters is doing in the region. They were impressed by the impact that they were already having here in St. Kitts and Nevis by providing training opportunities for our ladies, quite a bit of capacity building, back and forth with our ladies, assisting them with their market branding, etc. And so the only aspect we were really missing in St. Kitts and Nevis, similarly to what were being done in St. Lucia, was the farming aspect of it. So Four Seasons reached out and said, hey, they saw that in the documentary and they really would like us to, let's say, repeat that activity here in Nevis at the resort. And so we had the launch officially this year, actually, during, we had our launch, I think it was March
In
8th, if I can recall, during
April the 8th.
International Women's Day. Yeah,
Correct.
during International Women's Day, and we thought it was fitting. So there he had a public showcase on sale platform from our female farmers, our artisans, and in the federation. So the hotel framed the market for us. They invited their guests. They have employees. There were local individuals coming to the market, and even our farmers, ladies, they were rather impressed with it. And so after that, we had 2 more markets at Four Seasons, and so now we are looking at pushing through again and relaunching for this coming November 23rd. Up until April 2026. So this is an initiative we are hoping to keep going.
Yahsonn?
Well, it's just quite interesting, and I'm really loving that energy. I'm hoping that a lot more of our young ladies who are in farming here on St. Kitts and Nevis should be listening. I'm hoping that they're listening and could seek to reach out to Latoya and the other members of Helen's Daughters, so they can benefit from some of what the group has to offer. Speaking of that, as I mentioned in my opening statement, I was asked to earlier on last week go to one of the primary schools, my alma mater here on Givace. They had career fair day, and I was asked to represent from the agricultural side, which I found very interesting. I don't know how many other schools did that, but you hardly find children in school these days, wanting to be a farmer. I saw a lot of children running around, in the fireman suit, in the police suit, in the pilot suit, and doctor and nurse and hairdresser and all of these things, but no farmer. But in talking to some of them, though, they were interested in it. The main thing though that caught me, there was a young girl who is, I think, in grade 6, so she should be about 11 years, and she is involved in the industry to the point where she is making, I think it's ice lollies or icicles, so one of those things. And I think she has her company's name. I think she said she has a logo already, and she's already selling. So I am really, it touched me. Like, I just feel the need to see if we could help someone like that, especially a young girl, to help to demonstrate, like what I was telling them at the school at the point, that one of the key things in agriculture, you don't have, or farming, you don't have to wait until you become a big person or an adult to benefit. And here is it that this young girl at 11 has a potential business, and all she needs, I think, is what I heard Latoya spoke to, in the sense of Helen's daughter seeking to help with the marketing aspect. And here is a great opportunity as well, with what is supposed to happen here on the 23rd, if we can get her tied into this, and this could probably be her first big major event. So her name, well, I don't remember her first name, but I know her name, her last name is Danielle. And I am
For
going to
Helen's,
see. Yes, go ahead.
mhm. Yeah, so for Helen's daughters, what tends to happen? It's we also run by membership. Membership is free, of course. Our members don't get charged anything for any of the work that we assist them with. So to
Mm-hmm.
participate in most of these events, especially the farmers market, because we would have to be liable for certain actions, persons would have to be a member. However, we do encourage persons for most of our training activities. We do quite a bit of training activities in St. Kitts and Nevis, and it's open to persons who are also non-members. For example, we currently have our academy running. Our academy is a program that usually runs from about August to November, and we are actually wrapping up this cohort now, where we have over 200 women who are currently being trained through various aspects of agriculture. We look at agro-processing, food safety, financial literacy, marketing, nutritional aspect of agriculture, quite a few aspects of those. And at the end of it, persons who graduate from this academy. So our session, our cohort is actually set to graduate on December 2nd. Additionally, we have a session which is known as the Life Academy, and this is also open to non-members. I'm really getting some bad feedback. And this is also open to non-members. And so, okay, that's better now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is open to non-members, and we encourage persons, women, females of St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, as well as St. Vincent and Grenadines to join this session. So we do quite a bit for individuals. So if you can probably at the end of the show give me her contact information, and I can reach out to her for that. But really tonight I would really like to focus on persons being aware of the activities that is happening, because ever so often we have some markets like these and persons are not fully aware. We have the annual markets that usually take place in St. Kitts and Nevis, and many times when persons hear about farming or agriculture, quite a few persons tend to look at it being male oriented, something specifically for male. But when you look at the ladies in Helen's daughters, I know that definitely will change a lot of persons' mind. And what is funny about your story about this little girl and her popsicles, Marcia, who is actually supposed to be on but is having some technical difficulty, that is actually her feature item. And since we started going to the Four Seasons, Marcia, ice pops have become so popular that she now will have a client based from there who, even when we don't attend market, persons contact her to get her ice pops. So, that's interesting. So she and Marcia could probably exchange some details about looking at how it goes. But I know Four Seasons, they play a major role inside this, and we really, really, this is opportunity that quite a few farming organizations don't usually get an opportunity to do. And so I'm so elated that Four Seasons is partnering with us once again to actually launch the FarmHer Market.
Okay, so what are some of what can the general public law when it comes to some of the vendors, what they'll be selling and stuff like that? What can people look out for, and where exactly and Four Seasons will this activity take place?
Okay, so I'll allow Zamir to go and tell us a little bit about the venue at Four Seasons, etc., and then I can follow up with the products.
Beautiful.
All right, so on the 23rd, everyone can feel free to gather at the Sports Pavilion lawn. This is going to be right outside of our spa area. That's where we're going to have the amazing setup for everyone to walk through and get a chance to enjoy the experience that we're looking to create for them. In relations to the products now, Latoya definitely can give you a little bit more insight as to what's up, because I know for
Yeah, so we definitely have a variety of products. that persons will be interested in. We have for everyone, literally, and when I say everyone, I mean everyone. We have fresh produce. So we have fresh vegetables, fresh fruits. We also have artisan products. So we have one of our vendors who specialize in leather products. So she have leather sandals, leather belts, etc. Also jewelry. We also have agro-processing products. We have jams. We have different pastries. We have quite a few baked goods. We have juices. Like I said, we have ice pops. We have indigenous, well, we have snacks that are, well, what shall I say, known among the culture in St. Kitts and Nevis. Like we have the sugar cakes, we have tamarind balls, we have one of our vendors recently started looking at guava trees. I mean, we have quite a large variety. It's even, I'm here trying to think, and so many photos from what happened recently are flooded my mind that I'm actually losing. But we have quite a variety of items there. So most persons, if you want fresh produce, we can have fresh produce. We also have vendors who provide eggs. So we also have fresh local eggs provided there. We have baked products, different types of cakes, and even now we are approaching the festive seasons, and we do have quite a bit of our vendors who also specialize and do bun cake, rum cakes in different flavors. And
So
oh
we can
yes, and we
expect.
also have wine. Go
So
ahead.
we can expect how much vendors will be part in this will be on a Sunday, and the time.
Mhm. Okay,
So
so
it's
the time we start from
go
10
ahead.
a.m. and then we usually finish at 2 p.m.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Beautiful. So entertainment, any soft music, any masquerade, how will this work? People will be entertained along when they're going through. I mean, I can trying to. So I'm trying to see where exactly where you're going to set up going to be. That's where we're close to tennis area, the parking lot
Yeah,
area, and
that's
in that
correct.
zone area,
Yes.
the parking lot.
So
Yes.
to
Okay.
give you a
Okay.
better
I just want.
idea,
Yes.
as soon as you're able to have your vehicle parked and you're walking across the first empty lawn you see on your right hand side, that's going to be the area where
Yes.
the ladies are going to have their setup.
Okay. Nice area. Just outside this spa area. Then. Okay. Nice. Beautiful.
Yes.
Right?
And at the
Okay. Nice.
previous
Nice
ones,
scenery. Everything.
everything, it's awesome. At the previous ones, we used to
Yes.
have music, etc. But we are taking a little spin this time, and we are trying to get the ladies to educate more. So we try to avoid the distractions in the background, such as music, because we want the ladies to speak about the products that they are selling, the end products that
Okay.
they use for agro processing. For example, those who selling beverages, what type of ingredients are in your beverages, what are some of the health benefits for these beverages, how were they made. So we're trying to make it more of an educational session also for the guests. And so we want everybody to be able to audio, not only see visually, but also to be able to hear from the vendors about the stories behind their products, how they got started in agriculture, how they got started to produce this product, how are some of these items made. Because quite often you have so many of the guests from Four Seasons, they look at a particular product and they look at it, it
Right now.
looks interesting, but it is something
Right.
new for them. So in order to draw them in, we want the ladies to be able to give them the stories behind those products. So that is the avenue that we are taking it from for this year.
Okay. That's beautiful. So can I get an age group of the participants? Is 100% female. Male gonna be taking part in this here. And agriculture is not gender biased. I just want to say that. So
Oh, wow.
so it's a good. I mean, I love the initiative because you don't know how your food are grown, and that is the most beautiful
Yes.
thing. Culture. There's a
Well, as a
stigma.
matter of
Is
fact,
that is yes,
even though it's a female organization where
yes,
we look at female farmers, we look at it as a household. So,
yes.
women in a household where you have different males, they'll be able to benefit from it. And as a Mr. Mackie Charles from A1's Farm. He's actually one of our board members for Helen's Daughters. So we do have males among us. Okay, and we partner quite often with some of the different farms for persons to be able to go to the farms them and actually get education sessions on them. As relates to the age, West Bankie never asks a lady her age. So we have a variety of ladies across the team. So you would have to come and be able to see all the different ladies. But we do have okay, you're silent.
Yeah, mic muted, Bankie. Your mic is muted, Bankie. Okay, so we're not hearing Bankie. But in the meantime, while Bankie get his mic sorted out, I would like to say that I am really grateful for seasons to jump on board and embrace such an initiative. It is well needed and well timely, and I think it really creates an opportunity for more of our farmers and agro processors to get themselves up to date and to seek to focus a little bit more on um, the packaging and the branding and the marketing aspects of it, seeing that you're going to be looking to not just offer your services to, say, a regular set of customers, but more so a higher end customer, which kind of forces you to want to enhance yourself, right? To meet the standard.
Yeah.
So I am really grateful for Four Seasons to do that. And it is not something that is just beneficial to St. Kitts and Nevis, but also beneficial to the region, as Helen's part is more regional than just national. So it really also shows the kind of outreach that this collaboration is bringing. And I'm really loving what I'm hearing. So kudos to the Four Seasons and Helen's Daughters. And I really want to continue to embrace what you guys have been doing in St. Kitts and Nevis. I think for sure, you guys would have had some collaboration with a school here in Nevis.
Yes, we did.
And would have been doing some work. And so, your evidence for being a part of the community and seeking to help the community and help females in the industry. I saw something recently as well where someone of your persons who was involved with Helen's daughter would have created, I think it was a chair or a table for somebody who was a grow box, yes, for somebody who was this. Actually, that person is my cousin, actually. So it was quite interesting to, look at it and see that, the kind of outreach and the help and the giving back, so quite impressive. And so, like I said, what you guys are doing is being felt and recognized. And I'm glad that you guys are here to also share with the rest of the world and all those who are listening what you guys are doing. And, feel free to share some of these things as well. I just kind of come to you so that you can also bring us some of the other contributions that you're making locally as well.
So, Latoya, so how can one reach out, get in contact with you if they want to be a part of this group? And but already, so how much members have right now in Kitts Nevis?
Okay, currently in St. Kitts and Nevis, we have over 60 members, 60 active members, and membership is currently open. This November, we actually started the new season for new members. However, the onboarding session for new members would not happen until 2026. So persons would complete the form and then they would have to wait for the response via email for the different activities leading up to becoming an official member. So, Helen's Daughters is here and we are here to stay. As a matter of fact, when I heard about Helen's Daughters, is the activities that were currently happening with Helen's Daughters really attracted me to the group, and I'm still here. So we spoke a little bit about the initiative by Beryl. Beryl is actually one of our ambassadors in the countries in St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and St. Lucia. We have two ambassadors that represent Helen's Daughters in various activities, local and regionally. So here in St. Kitts and Nevis, we have Robertina Edwin, and we have Beryl Seaton, who is from Nevis. And Beryl Seaton, as one of the ambassadors projects for Helen's Daughters, she created the Grow Box for Empowerment. And so these box, for most of you who are familiar with Beryl have a disability, and she's extremely passionate about assisting persons who also have disabilities. So many times there are a lot of stigma attached to farmers and who can farm and who can't farm. But Beryl is one of those who definitely breaks that stereotype and so persons, even if you have a disability, that you literally can do more than individuals without a disability. There is no limit to what she can do. So Beryl actually make the go backs herself. She cut the wood, she does the measurements, she put them together, and she have her list of persons in the community who she have already started to donate these go backs to. So for persons out there who even want to assist Beryl with this initiative, you can reach out to her. Part of it was funded by Helen's Daughters, and she did receive some assistance from other persons, other entities over in Nevis, like the Department of Agriculture donated some seedlings, and then one of the organizations in Nevis, for her to purchase the material to make the go back, she got a discount on them. However, additional assistance would be appreciated for persons who want to assist Beryl with continuing this initiative to assist persons with disabilities. You can reach out to her. But as it relates to reaching out to me for persons in St. Kitts and Nevis who are interested in membership in Helen's Daughters, you can always go to the Facebook page, Helen's Daughters Facebook page. We also have a website, helensdaughters.org. I work for the Ministry of Health in St. Kitts. I can easily be contacted there. If you know any member who is associated with Helen Daughters, and trust me, we are quite visible. You can also reach out to them, and they would definitely put you in contact with me. But I think Rastafari, he really shed some light on the benefits persons like Four Seasons who really jump forward and do initiatives like this. Sometimes when you have some of these large organizations, sometimes it's not so obvious to them some of the ways in which they can assist individuals that assist organizations. So Four Seasons did that. And, I really want Zama to, tell us a little bit more about their passion for this, because he's one of those passionate persons since we met him and Mitchell, who actually started this initiative. At first, I was in awe, and I'm still in awe, and the support is still going. So I guess maybe we can hear a little bit more from him about Four Seasons and how they have been helping us and what they are hoping to continue to do as relates to farming and assisting Nevis, St. Kitts and Nevis on a whole.
Right. In relation to the initiative, it's more so to basically give back to our community. As you know, we've been on Nevis for the last 3 decades, and it's always good to give back to the people that are here. Helen's Daughters do set a foundation they do set a foundation in the industry right now, and we want to continue to support the ladies as they go further and further, especially within St. Nevis. And giving them this platform definitely allow them to expand in the way that they want to. And more importantly, with the support of the general public and our guests standing beside along with them, I think that everything will be not just bigger and better, but we're going to be able to help them expand beyond the measures that they need
Mhm.
themselves. And
Yes.
anytime
Well,
they meet,
yes.
sorry,
Go ahead,
Let me
please.
say, well, I'm just want to say,
if
well, the
they
four
meet,
season always been, always, I guess we keep crossing. I'm not sure again and there. But can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, can finish up what you're saying. Continue. Can you seem like you're saying something? Continue.
I was saying we're more than happy to continue to give our support to Helen's daughter, especially for the upcoming season. And I'm pretty sure after this upcoming event on the 23rd or next, and the next after, it's just going to get better and better.
Well,
I agree.
definitely. I think, yes, I agree. Definitely. Because four season fund since it's been established here in Nevis, you always been working with the farming community. So it's not a strange when it comes to contributing and acting the local juice, which is a continual thing on a daily basis. So by this extension, it would not be any surprise to me when it comes to encouraging this part of event, and especially when it comes to promoting females in agriculture. So I just got to say, I mean, it's a good initiative. I was there with the launch with the Helen's Daughter movie. I was invited to that event at Four Seasons. I mean, very beautiful, well put together and stuff like that in one of the ballroom. So I just want to say, I mean, you all doing a beautiful thing. I mean, there are a lot of females say Nevis and in St. Kitts, I know, that is very heavily into agriculture, have the passion for it, because working within the ministry of agriculture for over a decade. I mean, I've seen it all basically, and females tend to get a harder time than the male. And then when it come to the female, are more in tune with the plans and more organized and more when it comes to safety and produce some more what of a better quality product also, because they're really nurturers by nature. So, and they're more easily to work with and always have a sense of when it comes to safety. So I must give kudos to those when it comes to female in agriculture, more or less sometimes to that aspect part of it, because they know they too will have to eat the food that they grow, and the more worry about safety and stuff like that. So for one, as a plant technician who work with female throughout the community and stuff like that, I just want to can't give enough kudos to Helen's daughter and what they're doing for Wales within the community, and then have a partner for like Four Seasons is a big backing, eh? So you really can't take that for
Yes.
granted. In a sense, when you have the number one hotel within the federation really standing side and side with this group and showing support, and then at the same time, these females are farmers getting access to their guests hands-on. So it's really an experience. It will be within the community of Four Seasons and the residents and stuff like that. So I want to just encourage the general public, both over in St. Kitts and Nevis. Definitely, I'll take some time on that morning and leave the farm and double back and pass through and check if I can get some one or two things, whether some sugar cake, some ice popsicles, or whatever it is. And just to, what I mean, to be at that event and take some videos and come back and show them here on the show for those who couldn't make an event. At least them, the overseas listeners and viewers, can get a chance to see how the event went and stuff like that. So anything you in touch on, any one of you in touch on when it come to the event?
Okay, well, I do. I think we touched on most of it. We look at the market. It presents quite a few of items, curated selection of locally produced goods, fresh produce, like I said,
Right.
has sauces, condiments, as well as simas, drinks, baked goods, herbs, eggs, candles, some jewelry. So, you give visitors direct access to the island's food as well as craft entrepreneurs. And this partnership really gives our women producers high visibility and access to a market initially, like I said. But we spoke a bit about the documentary, and so I would just like to give person a little insight on the documentary, which is one of the baby projects for our founder, Mrs. Kathleen Karu Afrifa, and the name of that documentary is known as Roots of Resilience: Stories of Caribbean Women in Agriculture, and we had an opportunity to view it here several times in St. Kitts and Nevis. So this documentary is a powerful visual story that highlights the resilience, innovation, as well as the leadership of rural women farmers across the Caribbean. through personal narratives and the farm footage as well as community perspective. The film showcased how women are often the backbones of household and food security, and how they can actually assist in transforming agriculture through modern practices, entrepreneurship, and collective actions. So, this the documentary, it tried to give women a voice. It highlights some women who put all of their children literally through school, through farming, having to work twice as hard as some individuals. It demonstrates how persons can actually make it in farming, and why even the persons, I like the fact that earlier Rastafari said the industry, because a lot of persons tend to forget what agriculture actually is, and what persons tend to associate being in agriculture about. Some persons, for example, I mean, quite often we have had some of our lady farmers, when we get all dazzled up, and persons look at us and they say, well, I don't believe you're a farmer. But what do a farmer look like? What is a farmer supposed to look like? What do they expect a farmer to look like? How do they expect a farmer to speak? So we have a lot of these things happening, and we really need to promote and push more what farming is. And farming is literally is not all about everybody. We have persons who might want to work on the farm, for example, but it's not everybody who is in farming would be working on the farm. We have persons who manage farms, and we have persons who literally have been able to have generational income from farming, from different type of farming, whether it's from vegetable farming, it's from food production, even to agro processing, and even those who do use animal farming. So we really need to highlight and show how responsive it is for persons to demonstrate how good it is to be a farmer. And so Helen's Daughters, we try to demonstrate that through training, by providing access to resources, and let's not forget the community support. We try our very best to always be in the community and to try to support and uplift our women economically through some of the activities like these, by providing a market for them. So I don't think I can. I mean, the passion is there from the leader. Keithlin comes right down to the team as well as the members. Passion is there, and so I think that is what Four Seasons were able to see, that there is a passion as relates to farmers and Helen's Daughters, and wanting to push agriculture, because agriculture is not only associated with food, but now we can see we have so many issues. We have challenge with health issues here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and agriculture play a major role in that. If persons are able to produce more of their food, if persons were actually taught how beneficial it can be to do some of these items, and that you don't need a large piece of land to farm. That is literally something that persons think, that I need to have a big piece of land somewhere, I need to have a large backyard to farm, when literally you don't. So we try to highlight some of these activities and promote ways in which persons can actually elevate themselves through farming, even if it is not their main source of income. We want persons to know that there is nothing wrong with wanting to get into farming, and there are so many different
Well,
aspects of farming.
well, let
Well,
me big up two of
sister.
your membership. I just wanted to big up two of your members, Rhonda Hobson and Akeisha Fergus. I mean, Rhonda is a backyard farmer, but and then in the spaces she had, and everything is well neatly in order, and with the chickens and everything. And
Yeah.
Akeisha is a commercial farmer with acreage, just like competing and producing more than the male and them. So that is why when I speak of agriculture, and there is no gender, is not gender bias. I mean, what these females
No
are
gender
doing is a
bias.
beautiful thing. So I just want to big up those two ladies and the others that are doing their part when it comes to the agro processing and stuff like that, making different products, whatever it is. I mean, you got to always give kudos to anyone. A wise man once told me, the closest to God is a farmer, which means farmer. So, yeah, because you really got to get patient, because you're not getting paid unless you have the product where you go there and work on it. So you got to put in the work and be consistent and really have a good proper time management system around you and stuff like that. So just want to big up those two particular farmers because particularly I work along with them over the years and I know their commitment and see them grow from beginning and consistently and still innovate. So I just want to big up those two and the
You
others
know,
that I yes.
Bankie, um, there's something that struck out at me when Latoya was starting because it was one of the approaches that I took when I went to the school in terms of representing for agriculture. Because what I did, I went there dressed and I went with my computer bag and I just walked with my computer, took out my laptop, put it on the table, and I had my phone. And my thinking and my teaching was, basically like you were saying, how does a farmer look? You know what I mean? There's no look for a farmer. And we want to change that sort of paradigm where you just think the farmer is the man in the rubber boots and, old dirty shirt and, or straw hat or whatever it is. So I wanted to change that image and show that different paradigm that you could be, and that's part of the story that I shared. That there's so many different career opportunities in agriculture, and I try to show them where you don't necessarily have to be involved in the physical dirtying of your hands or breaking your nails or whatever. But I try to demonstrate the fact that even the young girl. So when I spoke to the young girl, I was able to use her as an example to show that she's doing an agro business. She's not actually farming the produce, but she gets the produce, whether from her parents or wherever, and then she's able to add value to it and turn it into a value-added product, which is, a product that is sold, that is an agro-based product, an agro-processed product. And so you could be involved in agriculture in various different fields. I was pointing out the fact that, with modern precision agriculture, with the laptop and the phone, you could be controlling a drone, or you could be controlling a total greenhouse that is fully operational via technology, where you have timers and fertigators and things to check the pH and to close up the screens, and everything is done from the phone. And you need technical people to deal with that. And so it was really, really interesting to hear you highlight that aspect of what Helen's daughter is trying to do on a regional basis. And so I totally embrace that, and that's something that personally I am working on myself. And in terms of seeking to empower women as well in agriculture, I'm very much for that. I think there's a lot of young women even here, because people who know that I'm into agriculture, they would approach me and they would tell me, I want to do this and I want to do that, and they do need a lot of assistance. And I think when you have young people like that interested, you really need to do whatever we can to empower and encourage them. So that's why I said I really appreciate you season for what you're doing, and Helen's daughter. I really want folks who are listening to find ways to get involved, sign up. They say it's free. Sign up, get involved, be a part of the movement, and Four Seasons here to support you and help to take your products to the level where you might not be able to go, because Four Seasons has branches almost all over the world. And if your product might be welcome here, it would be very easy for them to, expand it to some of the other branches if necessary. So, totally appreciate the energy.
Okay, Yahsonn, you wanna, if there's any comments you wanna read out before Latoya and the guests do their wrap up? With any final comments?
Okay, so we had Ruthlin Hill says Ruthlin Brown is in with you. Okay, they were talking about the feedback we were having on noisy background and all that. Robin Latham says good night all. Go ladies. Okay, then we have, so the young girl who I asked about, I had one of the persons who work at the school gave me the name. So her name is Carrie Daniel, Karri, Carrie Daniel. And so I guess I would share that with you eventually. Bankie, I'll be able to give you that information, probably with the phone number as well, that we can share with Latoya. But on the YouTube platform, we have Helen's daughter incorporated is listening. So they say go Latoya, HD is listening in. Small I had sounds says up meds Um, Garden of Grace says grow box for empowerment. And she also says that you can even use a grow box. Okay, so we have some people sharing their little feedback, which means we know that we have people on board listening, and we're hoping that those who are listening could share the live, share the link, run on over to the YouTube platform, subscribe, and be a part of what's happening where agriculture is concerned. Everything agriculture, that's what we're here for. We're here to support anything and everything agriculture. And so, Helen's daughter, and your organization, we really embrace you, and we really embrace what you're seeking to do to help and empower young girls and women here in the Federation and throughout the region. And we want to, from here on our platform, Everything Agriculture, encourage all of the young girls and young women who are in agriculture to find out whoever it is on here. Well, I guess maybe you could let them know who on St. Kitts and Nevis to connect with, and or where the number and email or whatever it is that they need to get registered. So we're hoping that by the end of this program, we could have maybe the next time we talk to Latoya, we hear that they have like 200 members or 300 members on board. Yeah, so that's what we're looking for. It's an opportunity. Sometimes we as a people sometimes don't like to collaborate and come together and form these cooperatives or groups and so on. We fall for the partnership with leadership story and so on, and but you find that other communities and countries and organizations and people can find ways to collaborate and do things. Having an opportunity to be a part of Helen's Daughters, who is a recognized and registered cooperative group, and so on, the benefits associated with just being associated with the organization is tremendous. And the fact that you are now being given the opportunity to get in free, I assure you that maybe in a year or two, that membership would not be free, because they would get to that point where they would have to be restricting and controlling and moderating and so on. So I'm encouraging you and urging you to take the opportunity now, get on board while you can, while it's free, and while you have, especially you who here on St. Kitts and Nevis, who know the kind of reputation that Four Seasons have, and the opportunities that you can get to have your product being showcased at a Four Seasons. Well, I don't think you want anything else to encourage you to get on board. And so that's my little picture. We'll just give Latoya the opportunity to share the information in terms of how one can get involved with Helen's Daughter or Four Seasons, if that, whichever way they may feel to work it out.
Okay, so I would like to just invite everyone to come out and experience the heart of our islands, to the incredible women who grow and create craft with purpose. Repurpose food. Join us at the Four Seasons Resort Nevis Pavilion Lawn on Sunday, November 23rd. That is Sunday, November 23rd, not this coming Sunday, the one after that, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for our FarmHer Market. Now, this is more than just a market. It's a celebration of our community, our culture, and the power of supporting local through branded huge organizations like Four Seasons. So bring your family, friends to enjoy the fresh produce, delicious homemade bites, tropical treats, and beautifully handcrafted wellness goodness. So let's show up for our farmers and enjoy a truly authentic island experience. So I'm hoping everybody can go there. And for persons who want to get in contact with Helen's Daughters, you can always send us an email at info@helensdaughters.org, or you can visit the Facebook page or Instagram at just type in Helen's Daughters and you'll be able to see the different networks and you can connect with us. There you can follow our work and all the activities that are happening across the region. So please join us the 23rd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Four Seasons Pavilion lawn. Now I'll allow Zamia.
Thank you so much for that, Latoya. So yeah, we're looking forward to having everybody out in numbers to come and show their support and experience the goods that the ladies have took their time and love to prepare. Of course, just walk along with your friends and your families and come and experience a good time with us.
Thank you.
Guys, I want to thank you guys for choosing Real Entertainment Network and the Everything Agriculture Show for coming and enlightening the general public with the wealth of information about Helen's daughter and its organization and what they've been doing and partnering with Four Seasons. So, any last thing you want to say before you all go? I'll give you all a chance, and we continue the show.
Okay, well, I just want to thank you guys for allowing us to be here and for allowing us to promote this event through your platform. I know that agriculture is extremely important to both of you. As a matter of fact, I'm usually on both of your Facebook page. And so I know,
Appreciate
yes,
that.
yes.
Greatly appreciated.
So I know how
Well, I mean, I work with
important agriculture is, yes,
yes,
to both of you, even quite I mean, it's even, what shall I say? You both of you are trending quite a bit, even so now, more so now. So I want to encourage both of you also to keep up the work that you are doing.
thank
We
you very
don't have a
much.
lot of authentic persons still when it comes to persons who are passionate about what they do, the art of it, how important it is for persons to take pride and joy in the work they do and also the individuals that they are. So I want to encourage both of you to keep that up. And thank you so much for inviting us and being so warm and welcoming.
Greatly appreciated, and definitely in the new year, I will get you back as a nutritionist where you can speak health and wellness and stuff like that in your capacity. Right?
Whenever you're ready.
Definitely, definitely. Zaire, greatly appreciate what you're doing there at Four Seasons and keep up the good work. The same way, and appreciate Four Seasons for partnering with Helen's daughter. And I love this kind of initiative, and definitely the real entertainment and everything agriculture is here for whatever Four Seasons want to promote and partner with. We're always here to reach out to and want to work with the community. So thank you guys again for choosing everything agriculture and real entertainment. Latoya, I'll link up with you and get you on as a guest to speak about health and wellness.
Whenever
All
you're
right.
ready. Thank you guys so much.
All right.
Looking forward to
Okay.
it.
Thank you,
Enjoy
guys.
your weekend. Yeah, bye.
All right. Bye. Okay.
All right. Thank
Yes,
you,
folks,
guys.
and that was Helen's daughter, and for our show to this evening, really appreciate the work we've been doing. Also, earlier I'd mentioned want to big up Randa Hapson and Akeisha Fergus, who are part of that female organization. Also, big up my boy Markie Chas, who work along with them over the years. Also, so Yahsonn, ladies in action. Agriculture, not gender bias, as we speak about it all the time, and to see the works they've been doing, and now they'll have a FarmHer Market where it's just practically 100% female. So that is something very, very good to show and to inspire other females who have even the mind frame don't want to have that interest, but sometimes they're not encouraged. So something like this will definitely encourage more females to get involved. And there's a lot of females who are always into gardening here in the backyard. You will not even know they're into farming. You might see them going about doing their daily work in their offices, in their high heel shoes. But they do get down and take off those nails and get their hand dirty and really produce some good quality products. So I'm always love when I see anyone in agriculture, and especially when it's female, because they too are more consistent when it comes to taking up this kind of profession. Because I have sisters who, I mean, there's the one who maintain and plant food and stuff like that, where you take it will be in the meal, but I guess everything based on environment, how they grow up and stuff like that. So it's just a genuine that trait genes which I think have been passed on. Yes, son.
Yeah, man, and it's really exciting to hear that Four Seasons is really embracing Helen's daughters and the opportunities that's available for a lot more of our young people to get involved. So I'm hoping that folks who listen to this program could take heed and make sure that they take the information and get involved and embrace this. As you spoke to the fact that a lot of young ladies are interested in agriculture, I could attest to that because there's a lot of people who would reach out to me from time to time and whether ask for advice or tips and or share with me some of the struggles that they're going through in terms of being interested and trying to get the kind of support that they think that they should be getting, but sometimes find it very challenging and as they would put it, a lot of run around and so on sometimes. And it's kind of disheartening, when you know that we're in a situation where food security and food sovereignty is an issue. And then you have not just, males who are interested, but you have females who are interested in agriculture, and you would want to think that, you would want to run and help as much as possible some of these people, even if it's a backyard garden and so on, whatever tips or whatever assistance you can, to, give them that kind of empowerment. But, sad to say some of the stories that I hear, So anything to get that sort of empowerment, and it seemingly Helen's daughters is offering that kind of assistance and that kind of support. And so I want to encourage as many who might be interested, and after hearing this program, hope you can reach out and look for that kind of assistance. And they're going to help to provide marketing as well, and they're demonstrating that with the collaboration with Four Seasons. And if you are from Nevis and live in Nevis, you would know the Four Seasons standard and the fact that Four Seasons is a 5 Diamond Award hotel. And so if you are to have your products up to that kind of standard, that you could be, in their gift shops and or in their, in the rooms, depending on what, sort of pastry and things that you're making. And then you could get to the point where they're not just even showcasing them and utilizing them here on Nevis, but then they're seeking to put them into, different Four Seasons around the world. That kind of marketing and that kind of level, if you're able to get your products up to that standard, would be, very much out there for you. So I want you to take the opportunity, and it will create opportunities also for a lot of our young people, which is one of the things that I am suggesting and why I am so disappointed that agriculture is not given the sort of interest that should be given. The fact that you don't have to wait until you're an adult to get in the agro business. You can start from, like a student told me when I was there, even 5 or 6. I mean, it can even be younger, but that's the reality, because if you can learn to make lemonade, you could start a lemonade business at that age. It's that simple. And then you get to the point where you create that recipe where you know exactly what you use, so you can be able to create consistency and things like that. I mean, definitely. And so we want to, as much as possible, encourage young people to get involved, and that is why I am going to seek to push that young girl that I met there at VOJN Primary School. While I did that, I participated as a part of the Career Day celebrations, and I really would love for her, to get that support and can demonstrate exactly what I'm saying here. You don't have to wait until you're an adult. So I'm hoping like next year, even if it's this time, so maybe even before, that we could be coming back here and maybe even have her on and sharing the story of where she started, and now she has these products that are being sold in various different places and so on, and we could see the brand and the label and the logo and all of these different things and so forth. So Bankie, these things really are what we want to see, and then that could empower some other young person to say, well, hey, then I could make maybe a sorrel jam, and then I could have my jam, being sold in all of these gift shops, and there could be like little amenities when you go into these hotels and so on, or it's a soursop smoothie that, something that you create, and we can have a lot more agripreneurs. You have entrepreneurs, well, agripreneurs. where you have your own business
Yeah.
as a business.
Okay, yes, sir. I know last week, Friday, we had Minister Samuel Duggins at the Federal Cabinet of Agriculture here, where we had an interview with him where we speak about what agriculture been doing throughout the years and some of the initiatives they've been doing. But recently, we have realized in the news, it seemed that they a call had called in to speak about he went to get some seeds and the line because of feed that came in which was held and stuff like that, and came in and you could only get 1 or 2 bags and stuff. So it created a big situation where the PSC seemed to be well. No one has came out and said anything. Is that the PS have been there's the acting PS right now, who usually should be in Meire, the director, but now he's acting, and PS Miguel have now been well, there's not the minister himself have not come out and say anything as yet, but we'll have to see. It's just a lot of speculation, but he's not in that position right now, so I'm not sure what the minister will come out, because he was on the show and giving all the accolades about how good they've been doing for the last 3 years and all this different stuff, and within over that same time speaking over a weekend, the PS have been removed. I think the PS was half island when he was being replaced. So this is a mistake when you're half island doing government business and then you've been replaced overseas when you're in flight, and to come back now you're not even in office. You put on leave and okay. There's a lot going on right now within St. Kitts in a time like this where the private. So next week Tuesday when the feed comes in, the feed will not be sold no longer at the agriculture department, and everything will be privatized. And the sad thing about it, this have not been this stakeholders. Even the seeds, a farmer like me and you, would not be going to the agriculture to buying seeds and all this different stuff, our drip lines, and these things will not be going to a private company. So this means the cost of eggs, the cost of a tomato, down the road right now within season, the cost of farm products and food gonna go up. This does not look good. I mean, this is a very, very, very bad timing when it comes to shift and the area which the government subsidize all these farming products and because of whether it's bad management, because the Nevis side, the government still subsidizing these things and still in command selling these food products for animals and small ruminants and poultry. But when you're going to take it out of the hand of the ministry and put it into a private company, it means the cost of food going to go up, which means you're going to pass down to the consumers. So the cost of eggs, basic eggs, and mutton and pork and all these things, what is going to happen? This is the Christmas season within the next month, a couple of weeks, where people are going to be buying lots of eggs, going to the baking and all these things. So we're going to this is really, really poor timing.
One of the things that jumped out at me in what you said a while ago is the fact that the people or the stakeholders were not consulted, and it speaks to the level of disrespect that has been meted out to us as a people. And I find that now when people push back, and I'm not speaking to this specifically, but I'm just speaking to some of the issues that I'm seeing as I listen throughout the media, whether it's the SSZ, whether it's the Destiny, whether it's things like this. When people speak out about lack of consultation and lack of being spoken to or being involved in the decision making, we get some kind of pushback as to make it seem as if what we say, they don't necessarily have to value what we say as a people and our pushback. But I think it's time that I think this SSZ and this Destiny issue is creating a new space, so to speak, that is helping to get these politicians to realize that they are not our bosses, and that it's the people, or the voters, or the citizens, so to speak, who are sovereign. They work for us. They work on behalf of us. So if we are holding them accountable, we are just doing what we should have been doing. If we were not doing it before as much, and you got away with it, it has gotten to the point now where we are beginning to take on our true responsibilities, which is to hold you accountable, ask you these tough questions. Have you come to us before you make decisions on behalf of us? Even though you're going to present the argument that we voted you there to make these decisions on behalf of us. But we did not vote you there to function as a dictator. We voted there with the thought and process, with the thought and idea that you would have gone there and be very transparent and come and speak to us and let us know what you're going to do, and so that we can be involved. That even at the end of the day, if you make your own decisions, we could have said at least we would have had some sort of consultation with you, and we would have spoken to you, and we would have given you our position like you are doing now in some cases. But that is part of the challenge that we have, Bankie, as a society. And to get back to that point, where you're going to tell me that you're accustomed to supply the people with feed and all the farmers and all of these different people, and then you're going to get up, at one point and just say, you're going to privatize it. And I would have listened to a clip. I didn't hear all of the clip, but I think somebody, I don't know if someone asked the question, but I heard the minister, the federal minister, Duncan, responding to a question in relation to that. And part of what he was saying was that, well, the government would have a budget set aside for agriculture. And he was talking about the fact that over the years, production increase, more farmers come in and so on, so there's more demand for some of these things and so on. And what I think he explained, what happened is that because of that, it has exceeded the budget that they would have had allocated, and it's not just as simple to go and take up some money from here and put it in the budget and so on. So my thing was, if that is the case and you realize that enough wasn't budgeted for, this is November, we're going into December, and you're going to have a budget this year. So if that is the case, it just means that somewhere along the line, you should be figuring out how to adjust the budget to suit the new sort of growth in the industry. I mean, that would have been my approach. That's how I would have think about it, instead of just...
If you want more, if you drop short or whatever, you need to see whatever, you just have to get an appropriate warrant and go through the that is the right procedure and stuff like that, and go through the assembly and stuff like that. So they know what to do. You're inside there, so you know what to do, and they have a lot of advisors. So we're not into assuming and guessing. The procedure is there. So we're not here to assume. We just run the thing how we're supposed to be running and not making an excuse for these guys. We're not here for that. These guys not very kind.
Hold on. Me ain't making an excuse, I'm giving you the response. I gave you the response that the minister gave. That's not my response.
But that's not a good response. That's a bad response. That's a bad response.
That's the whole point I'm telling you. So that is why what I said now, in my suggestion now, is that based on what he said, I am saying that the budget is going to be called, they're going to have to do a budget for next year. So I'm saying if that was the scenario, for this budget now, you feel that was the issue. So then make the allocation for this budget to say, well, okay, we need to increase the budget based on these things that you claim are the rational or the reason that change.
So right now, this thing about 2030, which is the agenda when it comes to bringing down the food import bill, so that out the window then. Because by just doing this alone, you're driving up the cost of living when it comes to crops in all aspect of it. In all aspects, whether it's fishing in marine area, the crop area, or the animal area, the poultry area, small or large ruminant. You're driving, because once the cost of feeds goes up, the cost of seeds, the basic inputs, drip lines for irrigation, but fertilizers, everything, you privatize all these inputs. Well, what do you think going to happen? The output going to go up? That's the reality. Nothing, you can't sell things for the same price. So this is a chance we know the wholesale price for things is going to change from, if you used to get tomatoes for $3 and $2, you better make up the mind, these now tomatoes are going to cost for wholesale prices $5 and so forth, because the private company not going to be selling stuff just as if like it's the government itself. So this is a serious problem. So which means the Prime Minister have to get involved, because this is going to affect Nevis people, Not because Nevis, they together they put their farming products from seed kits, the inputs, the seeds, the drip system, all these different stuff. They get it from seed kit agriculture. Because it's always been a cheaper price. So now the system have been changed like this now. How this gonna affect a whole community, a whole nation? So I mean, and then you're gonna keep building and allocate more industries and hotels and all this different stuff. So what I mean, how this gonna work? So it shows that the seriousness when it comes to agriculture is because this should not be happening. This is the silly season, as we tend to call it, where the high season for the tourism sector, where more plates are needed, more food are needed. So how at this point you just shut down the whole system? This is a shutdown as far as I see it. So you really need answers, because this is not really forthcoming, because it is just not a good look, my virgin. This is a bad time when it comes to a federation who have been speaking about 2025 agenda and bringing on the food import bill. And now the main sector of bringing in the farm supplies have just shut it down with no kind of consultation. So the acting PS who is there now going to have to speak on these things. And the PS or the director, somebody have to come out and speak what's really going on within the department itself. You need a press conference or something. I mean, even the PM need to be a part of the press conference, because there's nothing I've been speaking to people one on one does not gonna fix this problem, because feed coming in, because there's no feed in Sinkits right now, so farmers can't feed, wouldn't be able to, if they auto feed, well, they'll have to come up to Nevis, because that's the only way. But they'll have to make up their mind now. The cost of feed really going to be going up from next week Tuesday, from what I understand. I mean, I'm starting to be corrected with what I from the guy, and what I'm saying. The next week's Tuesday coming in, this feed will be within the hands of the private, in a private business. So let's see how that goes. But definitely, the PM, Minister Samuel Duggins, definitely this guy gonna have to come out and speak on something like this. So, Yahsonn.
Well, Bankie, it's part of the argument that we are facing, and like I said, you come back to just what I was saying. Accountability, transparency. I mean, being upfront with the people. We shouldn't have to be always speculating and then have people having to come and do damage control and all of these things and so on, and only speak after is being asked
Hold your point,
and things like that.
Yahsonn. Hold your point. Let me take this call.
Yes.
Carlo, good evening.
Yeah, man. You fellas, man. How you guys doing tonight, man?
I'm good. What about you?
Pretty good, man. Well, I see you guys are back to the regular format, just you and Yahsonn only.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Man, you guys are right on target, man. Right on point. I'm gonna go to what you just said, right? It's really appalling to see that these guys are not really trying to be upfront, man. They're coming from behind all the time. They're reactive. They're not proactive. Okay, we know in the United States we got something called the stock market, right? And on a daily basis, factors are affecting the stock market. Even just an announcement from somebody like the president, if an announcement about something, and it affects the stock market negatively or positively. Okay, here we have now in Sinkis Nevis, like you're talking about this privatization of the agriculture sector and the absence of the PS. It means the PS himself just being replaced or removed. Those things are factors that's going to affect the agriculture sector. But we're not seeing them saying anything about the movements. You know what I mean? Definitely, even the Prime Minister himself, these are things that he got to be paying attention to, because all the talk that the man is talking, they're not really doing the action. The PSs and them and the Prime Minister, they got to be doing their work. And you guys are agriculture experts, and you're focusing on this agriculture a lot, right? But now, as they're trying to make these moves to privatize and such like that, and you're saying the feed and stuff is going to be affected, definitely the price going to be affected. The price of goods going to be affected too. So why is all of these things going to be happening and we're not hearing from the department? You know what I mean? Definitely, man, when you're a boss and you're running something, the Prime Minister being the top man, he got to be making sure the departments under him is operational. If the PSM, they're not doing their work, they might need to be removed. It's simple as that to me.
Yep.
Because if all of we're just talking about we're just talking about one department, agriculture. But what happens if all of these different departments start acting the same way? Because people already of the view that most of these departments, they're not doing their work, man. So if you're running a company and people underneath you and you're the boss and they're not ain't doing their work, what are you gonna do? You're gonna just sit down and let your company fall down? That's what's happening in Nevis right now. Believe it or not. The Prime Minister himself, man, he gotta get on top of these guys, man.
Well,
and if you don't, you'll be complaining forever, bro.
All right, Carla.
But definitely, man, they might need to come forward and say something, because let me go back to the Prime Minister one more point and then I'm gonna get off, right? We hear when the Prime Minister makes his briefings about agriculture, well, actually, whenever he gets the questions about inflation inside the Federation, he likes to point to the external factors. But what I'm going to point to out of this conversation here is that now we can see that there's internal factors now that's going to drive up the prices of the goods, like you're saying now. And that rhetoric and that narrative from the Prime Minister, when he's always pointing to the external factors, what I'm saying to him and what I'm saying to you guys tonight now is that what you have just mentioned tonight, and I heard you said that before, maybe last week or whatever, they're going to privatize agriculture, right? Internal factors now is what they're going to have to concentrate on and talk about. And therefore, they got to come forward and talk to the people about what's going on with them to privatize the agriculture sector and such. Yeah, thanks, man. Guys,
I appreciate it. But Yahsonn, this have to be a cabinet decision. This just nothing that just happened out of saying you're on private shut down a whole sector as a government when it comes to the ministry and department, and just it happened overnight. I mean, this been something we've been working with over for a few months for this to happen. This is a build up of frustration and a whole department not doing what they have to do. Because from my information, the Prime Minister get involved in this thing, the Prime Minister, and I stand to be corrected, so the Prime Minister will come out and say if I'm lying with what I'm saying, my information is wrong. But this Carl had get involved, have reached so bad. The Prime Minister is the one who making the removal of the PS, from my understanding. So this have gone above the minister head. So it mean the Prime Minister is somebody have to get the blame. So either they're blaming the PS, the minister have to get blamed too. And the cabinet have to get blamed too for what's going on. This is a whole cabinet problem. This is not just a one-man problem, Virgin. This is an engine that gone bad, and nobody been speaking about it. You see what I mean? It is just a bad thing that's happening right now. So the longer they stay to talk, is the worse they're gonna get. So it better they man have a press conference, an emergency press conference with the state of the agriculture department and sector right now. What's going on?
Well, I suggest that would be a good idea to do something like that. I myself, I have read some of the things in the media and so on. I have not spoken to Miguel personally. And I also have open communication with Mr. Duggins myself. But he was on the program, but we never really got engaged in that aspect of the discussion then. But in relation to the feed aspect of it, no, Bankie, as the caller spoke to, and as we would have spoken to earlier, the lack of consultation with the stakeholders, the people who are really going to be involved. And as you just pointed out, it can't be something that just happened last week. It can't be they just decided last week that they're going to end this thing. So we're in this decision making, get to that point that they thought of having a conversation with the farmers and the livestock farmers and the whatever other farming organizations and so on, to get ideas from them or suggestions from them, that even if they were going to do this, are they thinking about doing it? Get their feedback and suggestions and maybe other ways in which they could approach it and what would work best for them and so on. And these are some of the difficulties that we are having. And I am just hopeful that a lot of the younger people, Bankie, the electorate that is between the ages of, say, 18 and 35, or even 18, and I could even go as far as, they say, 40, are really paying keen attention to some of the things that are happening. And I'm hoping that a lot of the social studies students that I would have taught, I would have had an opportunity to influence their lives and gotten a chance to look at governments and how governments functions. Could pay attention to what's going on and not get too caught up in the party politics and you holding one side and say you ain't listening to the other side and all of these kind of things. And do listen to everybody. And then formulate opinions based on what you would have heard, whether it's fact, learn to separate facts from opinions and so on, and then be able to come to, some conclusions for yourself. And learn to be able to call a spade a spade. And if I tell people all the time, I don't have to be your enemy, or we don't have to be at any disagreement for me to disagree. I mean, me and Bankie here are very good, but there are points even here on the program we would disagree with each other. It don't mean that me and Bankie gonna get upset and me gonna get personal with Bankie, but we could disagree, and we could disagree passionately. But it don't mean that me not like Bankie, or Bankie got to get vexed and not talk to me or block me, and because I disagree with him. And until we get to that kind of level where our politicians stop play this kind of game where if you say something and you're not in line with whatever they're saying, then they want to label you as the opposition, or you supporting the opposition party and so on. We need to have more. I'm loving what Bankie and the others are doing in terms of we're seeing a movement where there's a lot more independent candidates stepping up, or persons presenting themselves, creating that opportunity and that space for something that's different, an alternative to what has been the norm. And I think we do need to have a lot more of our young people have more independent thoughts. And I think that can only happen if they do what I'm suggesting, where they listen to all sides. Don't just limit yourself, and you need to get involved. Even if you opt not to vote at the end of the day, which I would still encourage you to, but if you opt not to, at least be informed enough that if you opt not to, it is because of an informed decision, an informed choice that you would have made to opt not to, and or to, and not just the old your parents used to support this party, or your grandparents or your grown-ups here, and then you just say you support this party. No, we need to get to the point where we start to hold them accountable. So whether you support them or not, and they're not doing the right thing, hold them accountable. And that's what we're here. It's not about anything personal. So when you hear us call out these ministers, or I call out whoever else are in position, it's not about anything personal. So for me, when I say like, I am very much disappointed. Yes, sir.
Who the sheep? Who the shepherd?
Exactly, and that's the other point as well. Because we are the bosses, so are we supposed to call them out? Are we supposed to?
So wait, but who in the feelings, right? If we're the shepherd and a lead and are supposed to lead the sheep, supposed to lead the sheep. Who want the sheep lead them? Let the sheep lead. who want the sheep to lead the shepherd, that's up to them. But the sheep now lead me. You see what I mean? So,
Right, and
so who
that
want
is
the
what
sheep lead them? All right. Me are the shepherd, me lead the sheep. All right. So you could stop
that
the
is
who
why
want the
I'm
sheep lead
hopeful.
them.
That is why I'm hopeful that a lot of these young electorate that I'm saying can get to that point where they could understand that how our governing system set up, we are the bosses. They work for us. They're not our bosses. It's our taxes paying them. So when they say they're making decision to put in for, and Bankie, there's another thing that I find happening in our politics, right? That is kind of um, it's very disturbing to me, and I am going to highlight it. I've highlighted it in the past in some cases, but I think in these times I'm seeing it happening a lot more frequently and in a lot more flourishing ways, where seemingly these elected officials are seeking to get to look for praises or allocates for doing what they're supposed to do. So you find a man do a piece of road and a man want to get this big opening ceremony and so on to say that they open a piece of road. By that's what we hire you to do. Building infrastructure, putting up a school, fixing the hospital. That's what we hire you to do. That is what you're being paid to do as a leader. So it's like you getting a reward or somebody clapping you for supporting your child. But that you're supposed to do. You look at
This has
reward,
been
you can't.
something. No, because
You
remember, this is something have been going over the years. It's have
can't
been.
and you expect me
Yeah.
to pay you something extra because you clean up the car nice. What that you supposed to do? Clean up the car nice. What that you being paid for? So every car is supposed to make sure you put out the extra effort to make sure if you got to take a toothpick and I'm not toothpick, I'm a ear thing and clean up in between the thing with the AC then come all of that. So why should I got to pay
You
you extra
see,
for that? I
you see,
give you any praises.
the biggest thing is just on there's no accountability. You see, you're gonna do a road, you're gonna plow a land. Okay, let me make a perfect example. The Prime Minister will say he don't invest heavily in agriculture. They have cleaned hundreds of acres of land and in the countryside of Sink is to produce hot peppers. Well, the land will go up a bush. So you clean a land, plow up a land, but how much thousands of dollars to clean the land there? If you have to use, if you use government equipment, in resources, it's gonna cost over hundreds of thousands dollars to clean hundreds of acres of land. Definitely, lots of money. You don't go up a bush, Mosambona that kind of thing. So they're gonna have to plow again. Eh? So if you ain't serious when it comes to agriculture, leave the land where there. You don't start to clean no land unless you have all your resources and all your inputs before you go ahead. Otherwise, nature will make you look stupid. Nature never tend to figure out when you're going to start. From you start to clean, nature do it thing. You can't tell rain no fall, and tell this, none, that. Nature going to take a course. So unless you have all your resources, you're going to jump ahead. So this 300 acres have come like at Indian Castle, where you're going to clean a land and go back over bush. So 40, 60 acres, and now you clean 300 acres, well, sink it. Now learn from Nevis mistake. So how this happens, what the Prime Minister going to say about this? And the acting PS, well, he act now, so he have to talk about it. Because the
But
PS
Banky,
is a move. So you hear, so people don't know these things is existing. This is the reality. The land have been cleaned and plowed and go back up in bush for the hot peppers. These are the reality. It is there. People can go in sing it and see the site and they can see it for themselves. Because I've seen videos of this, so I can speak about it. People send me videos of drone shots of this area that is back in bush and being plowed, large acreage of land with virgin. So where all these workers gonna come from? Where they going to pep? Because from my understanding, the government itself going to be facilitating this project, not farmers going to be negotiating prices. It's government itself going to be employing people like no growing sugar cane to go grow this crop. So you see the amount of inputs you have to put into this, and when you harvest this stuff, and now they're going to have to be turn the product into a mash. So now you have to build a building with some thousands of gallon, 5,000 gallon tank to go mash up that and then store it and put it in a. So who got pay for all this expense? So definitely we need answers, because I, as a technical person, I've traveled to Louisiana to visit Southern University and the Tobacco Sauce Company. So I see the process. I know what the process takes. I know this size of building you need to do these things. So this is a very bad idea. It's easier to ship the raw material and let them start out the thing. They have the chemistry, they have the thing. So which means you have to go learn this process. You have to go build a facility to facilitate these things, my virgin. And you must have
Well,
salt.
well,
So you
well,
don't match up the
Bankie,
salt and you're going to start knowing. Because salt is one of the
well,
most important things to preserve
Bankie, in all fairness, that might be a part of the plan where, they may be working to cross train people so that at the end of the day we will be able to do something similar to what they're doing in Louisiana. So they might be looking at the opportunities for having people to get trained and get into different career opportunities that they might not have been involved in and so on. But besides that, the fact that the land is prepared, it seems like in a lot of cases, and I guess it's because we don't really speak out on it and we don't see it as wastage to some extent, because like you're saying, I mean, we saw it happening here at the land at Indian Castle in Nevis, the other 60 acres. It was cleaned. You mentioned that you had fencing wire and monkey electric fence and all that already for that
why it's
land,
still there, son. The materials,
and
the resource is still there.
it go
It's
back up
still
in bush
there.
again. We visited the New River plat down the road there again, where you shared with me the same scenario where it has just been excavated a couple of times. Go up in bush again, and as you mentioned, all of that is a cost. It comes at a cost, even if it's government machinery, the diesel, the paying the operator to operate it and so on. It comes at a cost, and so when you have that level of negligence and I guess it would be like leakage of funds, because those kind of thousands of dollars it could have gone into assisting other farmers and other farm projects and so on in the meantime, seeing that we have a crisis. So it's really, really interesting. And then Bankie, on the Nevis end, um, you sometimes are not getting answers and responses. Like, for example, we have never heard our minister speak about cannabis, and cannabis is on his portfolio. We have not heard from the Honorable Jeffrey Hanley either on St. Kitts, and he's being paid. So you find, and I think, and when I point out these things, Bankie, because to me, when you get away with these things, it to me seems like it's an example that is being set for the other things. Because okay, by this primary portfolio, we no must do nothing, because nobody come and really pressure, you know what I mean? So we not got to do nothing. So we could get away with other things. So the same way we could have the responsibility to do other things and don't do it, because we could easily do whatever and we while up we play on the emotions of the people and we get them, you know what I mean, keep them whatever, whatever examples they use and so on, ignore the noise and all kind of thing and so. And whatever they use on sim kits and so on, and play with the emotions of the people and so. And they get you riled up and all into this partisan party thing and so on, while ignoring the issues. And while the people who, as we just mentioned, us, who's supposed to be the shepherd, as you mentioned, are allowing the sheep to manipulate and play all the games and use reverse psychology and make you feel like they are the boss when you are the boss. Because when you try to hold them accountable now, they want to talk down to you and make you feel like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. And then they are, in some cases, some are afraid to talk because then they seek to victimize you or move you or stop, so give you certain businesses that they might have been giving you and so on. And in a small society, you have some of these issues. So, as we said at Bankie, I can't close out without urging the cannabis users, empaths, supporters, to do what you need to do in terms of whether it is a petition, whether it is a planned protest and so on, until they see numbers. These politicians are not going to move until they see numbers. If you are just sit back in a corner and continue to take what is going to happen, it's going to happen. See, as we say, nearly 2-3 years now, and you have never heard from your Minister of Agriculture. How can you continue that? And he's being paid. Are you paying him, you know? All of you ganja man in Nevis, because enough of your work, you all ain't doing it as your full-time job. All of you paying taxes. Even if you do it as a full-time job, you are paying taxes in some way, shape, or form. And if at 10 cents you pay as taxes, that going toward the paycheck that the Premier is getting, the Minister of Agriculture is getting, and all of them. So it means that you have a say, and you could hold them and should be holding them accountable. So don't just meet me and say, yeah, I like why you don't go on the ear and I don't talk the things and where. You all need to speak up. I mean, yes, your message a risk as we spoke about the victimization, because they might say, oh, when you show your face and so they might want to target you and so on. But you can't just think like that. If you're gonna think like that, we ain't gonna get anywhere. For the ministers them to act or take action, they want to see numbers. If they see 500, if they see 1,000, you know how they think? They break it down into constituencies. And they're gonna say, boy, that mean 300, you know what I mean, votes every week, you know? And that is how they're gonna start to think. If not, they
Yes,
don't
sir,
feel that
this
you
is a serious problem. Okay? This is a serious problem. And I, for one, don't like people play me for idiot. Because we all got the same genes and genetics. You understand? We might not have 1 or 2 genes with the coward gene or the brave gene or whatever. But let me put up my dumb book for next year agriculture open the 30th anniversary. Because the Babylon them and the Minister of Agriculture ain't talking cannabis and ganja. You understand? So I don't sign up. I will be having my style. So people put it out there right now. We're going to be raffling and we're going to have some big trees over 8 feet. We want to show the general public how ganja tree could come. So leave them and people trees alone. With these 2 ounces thing in our work. Because I will be having some 8 feet and 9 feet trees. Because it have to show people how the ganja tree them to look. So when you're going to come, so they have to go back to the giant board and say, boy, no, this is not our work. Because look how the trees look. That is the reality. So when you have people who goes, who can bring trees like a metal, what are you saying that make no sense? So the Babylon then come next year, January, up in the park and come on the tent again. Because this it gonna happen again. You understand? I'm setting up my educational stuff with everything, with my grow lights and everything. But this time, I want to have big trees because, yes, son, a man I come in here to tell you got 5 trees or 6 trees and still along with the tree in them. Because yet, nobody need to have no license to go no weed.
Hold on, Bankie. Hold on. We can chastise the Babylon or the police, so to speak. We got to chastise the executive. Them man who put in the
all who part of it. All who part
no,
of it.
What I say, Bankie, why I'm saying that, Bankie, is because the police job is to uphold the law. They're going according to what they have. So if they went and changed a law, if the executive went and changed a law and changed some regulations and ain't take the time out to go inform the police, because that's what their responsibility. All the stakeholders should be informed. Okay. So the police is supposed to be.
No. Wait, stop. The Premier Nevis and the federal government, them at all kind of town hall meeting when it comes to this SSZ with the police. Next week, Wednesday, school like a half day to go on NEPA or talk. They don't take our children, 5 farmers and 6 farmers. My child would not go to school on that day. I would not go down to no 4 seasons to go in a Premier and nobody talk politics to my youth. Cause I don't talk politics to my children and them. So how would our leaders want to take my child to take politics to it? That's not gonna work. Disrespectful. I got issue with that. So how you not take the time out to have meeting with the commander in chief and them? So you're saying me not make excuse for them. These are willful act. These are willful act because this is the reality, my virgin. Next week, Wednesday, the teachers them have half day. So this is so important.
Hold on. The reason is come back to what I just pointed out a while ago. You know, one of the reasons why they're trying to have all these town hall meetings and so it's because the people push back. They're getting the push back from the people. they're getting the feedback from the people, and they then know if this continue, it is going to affect their votes. So that is why they're taking action. This is why I'm saying for the cannabis enthusiasts and the cannabis users and so on, they now got to speak out too. They got to speak out in their numbers too. They can't just continue to sit back in the
No,
corner
you
and just
think
me and you come and you got to talk about it.
that's one. You talk about this about vote. This year is because them have go out a campaign for it because the premier don't say they cannot repeal this bill because it's too much. They repeal this bill that a part of one of it. If the people then pull out, they will have to pay 75 million. But it's still negotiating how much. If they pull repeal the bill, they don't know how much they're gonna pay. They still negotiate the part there. That's how they vote.
So at the end of the day, that's why it come down to votes. That's why it come down to votes, you know.
Vote?
Because watch here.
No, this
Yes.
vote. This come down to yes, sir. This will me just say no. This will me just say. Them man, the
Me hear what you
previous
say,
say,
no?
okay. Or you hear so when this coming to vote, this a
I
very
hear what you say.
enough
But this is what I'm
money
telling you.
this coming down to. It's coming to
This is why
vote.
it's no, it ain't just
The
money.
vote coming
It
in.
comes down to votes, Bankie. Watch here. Watch here.
Wait. Let
Okay,
me say this and you
okay,
continue.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me say this and you continue. The man say they cannot repeal the bill. You hear me? That's what he said, right? Right? He cannot repeal.
Man, sure if you say
No,
you cannot repeal.
the man say, the man say the bill cannot be repealed because the people will have invested so much. These are the class. These are what money gonna pay for responsibility now for not fulfilling this project. That is where they have to. So who pay all this town hall? Who pay for all this town hall meeting? We as taxpayers are the developers. Who pay for all this thing of 4 seasons, all this eat? Who pay for all this thing?
Based on the SSG Act, the responsibility to win over the population is a dual responsibility. Is a responsibility of the developers, and it's also a responsibility of the government. So the government playing their part in trying to win over. And this is why I'm telling you, come down to votes, Bankie. Listen to this. Because maybe you might be looking at it from this perspective, but listen to this. Any investor coming in to do business in your country, one of the key factors would be the stability of the government. So right now we are with this development, and this is one of the reasons why I guess the government is seeking to push it so much, because where we are, if for example right now they're getting pushback, and this is why they're trying to see if they could really get that win over to convince the developers that okay, yes, we have the people of St. Kitts and Nevis with us. Because if they don't, that investor, put yourself in the investor position, he's going to be thinking, well, if a lot of these people pushing back, right? They got an election coming in 2027. So if we get in now, we put in money now, we get invested in this thing, and the next government, let's say when they have election now, the next government come in and they say, then I want them. Then all the investment and whatever it is, no, yes, we will have to pay, the taxpayers going to have to pay back and whatever it is. But it halts them, it's going to slow them down, because even if they're going to get the money, it's going to take a long time, they're going to go courts, they're going so they would want that sort of stability to know that the government who is really giving them the support have at least 5 years to give them that 5-year support. So this is why I'm saying it comes down to vote. So what can happen, you may have a snap election even before 2027 if these destiny people try to push this thing. So the government might say, well, we got to have an election to win and win it, to be able now to guarantee the developers that we're going to be in here for 5 years, so you're not going to worry, because we're in here for the 5 years to make this thing happen. This is why I'm saying, as I say, you might not have been looking at it from that perspective, but
Actually, this what the class for them? How you gonna build a class if this project, if a man say, if you may just say fish come out of water into the shark in there, and the premier say so, the man say they cannot repeal the bill. When you not hear the man say so, it is there to say what he say. Me say what he say, no. No, me what the man say, you cannot, as if you repeal it, the people have invested so much. the government will have to pay, and they still don't know how much they have to pay. But if the people stop the project, they would have to pay $75 million. And I mean, so this have nothing to do with no vote. This have to do with the one the project by all means necessary. So, which from my point of view, we don't care how much we attack, and whether we're going to town hall meeting for when they know when they get in the house, they're going to pass the bill. Unless the people
But
rise
that's
up by
what
all
I'm
means,
always
don't pass
saying.
the bill. That's what they're going to do.
Bankie,
The bill don't pass.
exactly. So
Basically, it's as me see.
I'm totally disagreeing with you, because I hear what you're saying when it comes to that part. What that part
The
is
voting
saying.
part is the next different thing. But these guys look at the vote. These guys look at bringing the. Okay, look at this then. Let's say these man go and start this project. The government change. What end up going to do? Say, by the man we have got to pay. If we start the project, it's going to cost us $20 billion and we're not going to money, so we have to go along with it. What they going to do? What they going to do?
So that is why I'm saying it is so critical now for them to seek to get the buy over, and that is why the government right now presently is seeking as much as possible to get the people convinced to do it. Because as you say, with the repealing it, if they try to repeal it based on what the premier was saying, if you try to repeal it, it will be considered as a breach of the agreement that they have. But my thing is,
why have that in an agreement? So good. So why have that in an agreement when you don't know the people gonna go against it? Which means they know these things gonna happen. So they put it in. So who put that inside? The government or the other people?
Hold on.
Yeah.
They ain't know that the people would react that way. You can't say that they know.
Or they don't
remember
know?
what the government.
Why that in the name? What they put it in for? So why they
the
put
government Bankie would have probably told the developers, man, we got this covered. Right?
No, if that was the case, then I put that inside there.
Bankie, but that's not the norm here. This is one of the first issues. Watch it. Generally, in Sinkis and Nevis, when there's an issue, 9 days. You hear the pushback and the argument for 9 days and it stopped. This has been an issue now where that didn't happen. This is like one of the not the norm. So this is what is the problem for them.
Why did they put that part in the agreement? That's the whole point.
Because they expected that the people would have just go with it full hook, line, and sinker, and it would not have been what we are seeing today. Because they know normal. Yeah, but Bankie, if me accustomed to do something and get away with it, we not try to do it again still. And that is what I'm talking about.
You're telling me Harbour had an agreement. Harbour have some kind of, if the project never come out, the government gonna pay some kind of big money to something like this, or some kind of agreement like this, and the Park Hyatt.
No, each contract would have a different arrangement. I don't know what the arrangement would have been.
Yeah, but this you cannot repeat. This is putting an act that when they pass the law, the bill, you can't repeal it. Otherwise, this way you'll have to pay out. Well, who put that in the bill?
No. I don't think. Based on what you're saying, I don't think that sounds correct.
What the man say? What the man say? It is there.
Where said that? No, because the SSZ in itself, the SSZ by itself is the bill. Then there is a project that is being presented by these developers. However, for the development to take place, based on how it is structured, they had to put in place this SSZ law or bill. So I guess this is the argument that the Premier is.
That is fine. But why you have to put it in that you have to repeal it? Yeah, but why you have to put in? You cannot be repealed. Otherwise, it's going to cost you this amount or not.
I am not sure if that
okay. I'll get it here. No, we ain't get it here. Plus, next week Tuesday, the Premier will be on. The Premier will be on next week Tuesday, so he can speak, and then we have get more clarity when you hear the horse's mouth. Okay.
So we can get a better understanding, because I think what he was saying is that based on where we are right now, with the
We let you speak for
negotiation.
yourself. Let
That's what I'm saying.
you speak on yourself. Let you speak for yourself. Me not assume no more. But me here, we don't hear what you say. You still go wait to what the man don't say with the inner press conference, What the man say. You still say if he answer me not answer about nothing. What the man say. When I speak what people say. I mean, I speak what me say, That's why I listen to every talk show, every press conference. When necessary, I go back and listen to them and watch them 2 and 3 and 4 times. Because when I come and I speak here to my listener viewing audience, I speak in their words. You see? And I know where I see it from. The man been sit down in the press conference where I'm there. And so the man speak and ask up and say, that's how it is. It's because people put in the
No,
investment.
I remember hearing a similar response. So I think somebody asked about repealing the bill and so on, and that was the response. We were saying that if you repeal the bill, it's going to be whatever for the. I think you say you can't repeal the bill because it will be like a breach of whatever agreement.
That's the whole point.
But
That's all the time. That's the whole point. Exactly.
I don't remember.
That's the whole
No,
point.
here's my thing. I don't remember, one, the question, and two, I don't remember all of what he said, because sometimes, yes, somebody may say something, Bankie, but you have to look at the context, how it was said to kind of get exactly what was trying,
The premier reason was the people that would be heavily invested their money, and the government itself haven't put in $1. That was the reason. The government ain't cost the government 1 cent. Where it cost with nothing. And then put in the money. So that was the reason for the class there.
But what money they put in, the only money would be to buy the land. Can remember, and that ain't got nothing to do with us, because the reality is, even if they buy the land, remember, according to what the government say, according to what they say, they still have to wait for it to be approved. So unless you're telling me then that technically you don't approve this thing, and even though you're coming to me, it's like you don't sell me car and you come and tell me sorry you sell me car, and want me to tell you something to have a conversation after you don't sell me car. Would tell me pacify.
Let's say they go in the house assembly call Monday, and they're all going to talk about this project and whatever, and they say now, what they're going to say, who going to say they're not for it? Which one going to say they're not for it?
So, Bankie,
yeah.
That is one of the reasons why when I hear the premier keep saying that, it's going to be the first time in history that something like that, for it to pass, it has to go through the parliament. He has to go to the parliament before it is passed. No, hold on.
Yeah, but we must say that is not true. We got to say that is not true. When we said that, when the premier says, we say so, it is not true also. Because when we say that people will believe it. When we speak of that part, we say that is not, the premier is misleading, because cannabis have to go to having a consultation. There are other laws when it comes to the marine environment.
No, different point. We ain't talking about that. What I'm talking about, for example, if a developer or investor come in tomorrow with a project, say that they're going to build a hotel, right? They don't have to go to parliament.
Hotel. The man said bill.
That's what I'm saying. So you're confusing what I'm saying. I'm not talking about the bill. I'm talking about the development. What the premier is saying is the first time that any development from the SSZ, in order for it to get accepted, in order for it to be accepted by the government, it has to go through parliament or cabinet. Never before you had that.
Because they go hand in hand. They go hand in hand. That's the whole point. So they're being wise about it, diplomatic about it.
All I was doing, I was just pointing out that, because what I am saying now, though, in agreement with you.
One is the socks, one is the shoes.
In agreement with you, what I am saying is that at the end of the day, even though he's saying that he has to go to parliament, when we analyze how parliament functions in general, like you asked the question, who is going to go against it. So in reality, we know that even though it's just like a formality, because at the end of the day, majority are going to go with it. So it's going to get approved. So it's just like to say,
So the
yeah, you
purpose.
want to tell us that you're going through this when you know the reality is those in favor, the
Okay.
eyes are going to have it.
So this is just cannabis commission where they go on and have consultation and then they put in place what they want to put in place then. In no matter what the people say again. This is next thing again, basically again then. Oh well
Well,
it is.
at this point, this is where we are, and this is what the argument part of the argument was. Because here is it that you're now trying to have these consultations because people are having a pushback, but you don't put the law in place and the bill done in place.
All right.
And
We
so
time to wrap up. We don't go on
yeah,
see the time, yes, son. So
yes,
we're gonna
sir.
do some wrap up. But people, next week Tuesday, we will have the premier in the house. So get your questions in order and
Um,
be concise. We can call in also. And then next week Friday we'll have Professor Michael Emmanuel out of UA Mono Campus, the scientist and researcher when it comes to cannabis and agriculture. He will be our guest on next week Friday, everything agriculture. Definitely looking for that reasoning with Professor Emmanuel. Also, as I said, the premier will be our guest on this Tuesday coming up on the topic. So spread the word and let everybody know that he will be our guest, and definitely looking forward to the reason with the premier himself and and how Nevis has been going, the economy of Nevis, whether it's in agriculture, tourism, the project of the SSZ. I know where they get this Z thing come from. Here we know it as Z, now it's a Z now all of a sudden. So make it with the Z thing. Yeah, so definitely we appreciate you guys tuning in this Friday evening and another edition of the Everything Agriculture Show. Earlier we had guests from Helen's daughter who linked up partner with Four Seasons, where they're having a FarmHer Market on the 23rd of November, which is next week Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So definitely go out and support that. We get different fresh fruits and vegetables and also goodies, cakes, chocolates, sugar cakes and different local produce and stuff like that, even probably customs wear, leather material, and all those stuff. So definitely appreciate you guys tuning in on this another Friday evening. You are the one who made this show possible by sticking with us. Go listening to any other media house, but you choose to listen to Real Entertainment and Everything Agriculture Show on this Friday evening. Yeah, son.
yeah, Banky, as we close out, I want to apologize to one or two of the folks on the wall that we didn't really get to the comments. So in my closing, I'll just
Yeah.
read through some comments and then make my closing statement. So we had Garden of Grace saying good job, Latoya. Spiler Flick says good night. Mighty Servant says carp. Farm corporations and lobby insist on subsidies for farmers. Government is the people, managed by persons from the people. Demand of the person seeking to govern to have efficient governance. Mighty Servant again says we are giving too much comfort to persons seeking to govern. We are defying them. We are not demanding enough from them to do more for the amount they're being
Yes, sorry.
given. Um, Mighty Servant again says prices will go up if the people are buying individually and shipping individually. Buying bulk, shipping bulk. He also says, note, no feed in SKN is a good opportunity for someone, local farmers or merchants, to open a business. And at the end, he says, unionize farmers, farm corporations, lobby the government, make the changes desired to fruition. The power lies in you. No politician will want to or can govern a starving nation. And those are some of the comments and feedback that we are seeing and having as we close off and end another very exciting and interesting edition of Everything Agriculture. And we look forward to having you next Tuesday when we speak with the Premier on another edition of the Topics here on Real Entertainment Network. And we want to also remind you that next week, Wednesday, we will have our second edition of Medicine for the People with Dr. Charles McWilliams of Jade and Nevis. And so We apologize for not having them last week, but we will be back with another edition this week right here on the Real Entertainment Network. So with that said, blessed love everybody, guidance and protection. It was a pleasure having you, and we see you guys next week, Tuesday.
Alan around?
Let me
link up Alan. Let me link Alan. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so people, give thanks. We look forward to seeing you guys again next week, and we keep you up to date with what's happening in terms of agriculture in the Federation and globally as well. As we close, I was going to make this point earlier that Guyana is said to be one of the only countries in the world, and it's found in the Caribbean, that is able to sustain themselves, food sovereignty, food security. And one of the things that Guyana did was they invested in their budget. They allocated about like 400% of what it was originally to ensure that they can do what is necessary to get Guyana to the point where they can feed themselves. So I'm saying that if we are serious in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, as we move towards budgets for this upcoming year, 2026, I'm hoping and I want to implore the leadership, the ministers of agriculture, and the prime ministers and the premiers to take into consideration and demonstrate your seriousness in terms of agriculture and allocate funding to the agriculture ministry. Add, increase. We don't want to see a decrease. We want to see a significant increase for agriculture. I don't know if you got through with Alan yet, but if you know, so so in the meantime, people, we will continue to encourage folks to support local farmers. It's getting closer to Christmas. There's some people who probably already have sorrel available. Mine, I see mine just start bearing, Bankie. So I guess in a couple of weeks, I should be probably harvesting some. I am praying for some more rains. We do get some rains in between, but strange, I shouldn't say strange enough, but a lot of the rains, Bankie, sometimes when you are getting them rains over on that side of the country, over here is dry. Day when I buy the school, they're doing the thing. Lot of rainfall. And when I reach back over on this side here, man, over here.
We don't wrap up with this. We do the queue and that's it.
Yeah, so people, until then, guidance and protection, enough love. See you guys next week. Next week, Tuesday, the premiere.
Papa will get the queue. You can get the queue so you can go and reason until you get the queue.
Okay. All right. So next week, Tuesday, we have the premiere. In the meantime, like I was saying, we got some sorrel. We have some pumpkins coming. We have some watermelon coming. We have some okra. I love okra. I mean, I want to have a steady supply of okra. I love eating okra. All right, so people, you hear the cue. The guidance and questions for you guys next week.
It's all about everything agriculture with the man Bankie and company alongside Yahsonn Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it.